Welcome to Pastor. I'm your host, Tim Reynolds, and we're glad you joined us today. This is episode 24 of Pastor to Pastor. Today we're going to be talking about ministry within your local body. You know, there's been a lot of times in my ministry where I felt like we weren't going anywhere, that the ministries weren't expanding, they weren't growing. So today I want to speak about taking advantage of ministry expiration dates. You know, we probably all have those ministries that have always been there, but we're not seeing any fruit from that ministry. And it's hard to cancel those ministries, to put an expiration date on those, simply because it's the way we've always done it, and people just won't let go. And there's a fear of failure that kills ministries, new ministries, before they even get off the floor. It's one of the main reasons many churches don't try new things. They just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And we know that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something new. It's not going to happen. So don't allow the fear of failure to kill ministries within your local church. But failure is part of life. You know, without failure, we don't learn. It's part of ministry. It's especially part of doing innovative ministry, because we can't know if something will fail or succeed until we try it. What if we could reduce the sting, though, of failure? When a new ministry doesn't go as we had hoped, it might give us the courage to be more innovative more often, coming up with those new ministries. And the best way I know to reduce the sting of possible failure is to put an expiration date on every new ministry that you come up with, new ministry idea. Instead of launching a new idea as the way we're going to do ministry from now on, tell the people, hey, we have a new idea. We're going to try it until the end of the summer or December or Easter, whatever timeline you want to put on that. Then at the end of that time, if it doesn't work, it stops happening. Just like we had announced. There's no failure there. No problem. It doesn't work. We don't keep doing it. You can extend it to another 3 to 6 months if it does work. If it still works, we just keep doing it because we're bearing fruit from that. You know, today, me being new at the church that I'm at, we've been here about half a year now. I've asked people to take ministries that weren't even functioning, such as the men's ministry, couples ministry. And I've told those people, hey, give me 6 months. You know, work this for 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, if you feel like this isn't for you, step away. This helps people in the terms of knowing they're not stuck doing this ministry if they're not happy there. So put expiration dates, not only on ministries, but also on leadership, especially if you're asking somebody that's never done it before. And here's some advantages to ministry expiration dates. Is number one, if the idea is a non-starter, you don't have to live with it for a long time. You start something and nobody's responding. Hey, run that period of time, lay it aside. You know, you tried it. It wasn't what you thought it was going to be. There's really no skin in the game other than the 6 months that you invested. And a lot of time that investment is just your time. Number two is there's no more failures, just experiments. That reaches their expiration dates. You know, that's not a shock for people. We go to the store and we buy a gallon of milk, and you're up to that last day of the expiration of the milk, and you got half a gallon. Are you going to chug the milk? Or are you going to get rid of it by trying to drink it? Maybe your answer to that is yes. But hey, it's just half a gallon of milk. Pour it down the sink after that expiration date. Number three is extending experiment that works is easier than killing a permanent ministry that doesn't. Let me explain here. Things that are new, we haven't got it set in our routine. And it's easier to exterminate, to eliminate, to get rid of that ministry that you said, hey, we're going to do this for 6 months. And if it doesn't work, it's easy to move that off the plate. Number 4 is people can live with almost anything if they know it isn't permanent, if they're only there for a little while. I've seen so many times where people would step into a leadership role that was a permanent role that we've had in the church for years, and they would take that position, and in the process, they weren't seeing anything happen, and they would get discouraged. Usually, that individual doesn't stay at your church. They'll wind up leaving. They feel like a failure. They feel like nobody cares about the ministry they were part of, so they'll wind up going to another church. Putting an expiration date on ministries and also on leadership, it helps the people stick in there and stay. And number 5 is the leadership loses their reputation for being stubborn. We're trying new things. We're expanding. We're taking ideas. And this is something good. A lot of times, ministry leadership, they take ownership, not leadership, but they take ownership of whatever ministry that they're over. And many times this can come to the place of, this is my territory, don't give me any suggestions, I'm going to do this on my own. And we all know that ministry that's just one person really isn't ministry at all. And number 6 is people are more likely to give it a fair try if they know they're not stuck with it. Again, it goes back to that, you do this for 6 months. Hey, come to this meeting for 3-6 months, whatever you're doing. People are more likely to come and give it a try than make it something that's going to be permanent in their life and they're feeling like they're stuck with. It's like going to that new restaurant in town that everybody talks about. The excitement is the buzz in the community, and you'll go try it, and maybe you get there and you go, I don't know what everybody was talking about. I didn't enjoy this at all. Well, you don't continue to go back to that, but you realize, hey, it's for some people, it's just not for me. And ministry many times is like that. I can't say how many men we've got that won't come to men's ministry, but they'll come to other things. It just wasn't for them. And number 7, the best way to know if something works is to try it. That's why companies beta test their new products. They'll send them out and get people's feedback on. Ministry can be done the very same way. Give it a try. Have a test run on it. And number 8 is you can get feedback from the congregation while you're trying it. Instead of hearing arguments about why it won't work or the I told you so, if it doesn't, you're going to have feedback in the process. And you'll find many times there are people that's part of your congregation that has some great ideas that can help that ministry grow. And number 9 is you can field test several ideas and choose the best one, or create maybe even a hybrid of the best one. So you've got all these things that are coming, and you're going to find that sometimes you're doing 3 things that may be very similar, and you can combine those into one. And number 10, it helps people become more open to new ideas. You ever had that individual that says, well, that's not the way we've always done it? When you begin introducing new ministries and you're putting an expiration date on it, you're setting your congregation up for new ideas to come in the future. And number 11 is new church members don't feel like latecomers to everything that's going on in the church. So you got Brother Joe that's just started attending your church a month ago, and you're doing this new ministry, and it's new not just to him, it's new to the whole congregation. He's not a latecomer. He's right at the beginning of this ministry. So it helps in that aspect. And number 12 is you don't have to sell anyone on anything. Good ideas, they really sell themselves, and bad ones, they disappear over a period of time. And number 13 is people feel more comfortable offering up their ideas. When it's something new that you're testing, you'll find those individuals come out of the woodwork on, they can have some input in. And you can try more of them out with less risk. these new ministries that are taking place, a lot of times they will become some of your strongest ministries within the church. Number 14, trying new ideas can be fun. Number 15, it's more cost effective. You don't have to invest a lot of money until the experiment has worked. You'll find that it's really not going to cost you very much at all to do these new ministries. Number 16, it's easier to raise the needed money after people have tried it and they liked it. Again, it goes back to that restaurant that's new in town. If their food is excellent, their service is great, you're going to find that people will invest going to that restaurant over and over again. And then they'll tell their friends about it. See, this creates an environment within your local church of excitement, and you're going to find that they're going to invite their friends to this new ministry that's going on in your church. So it's easier for them to invest in that, not only their finances, but their time and their excitement. And number 17, it creates an environment that makes it easier to end the long-term ministries that reach their expiration date a long time ago. Pastors, all of us have a ministry that's in our church that probably should have ended years ago, but it continues. I know that if you was to eliminate that ministry right now, it would probably stir up a hornet's nest. Sister Susie's always done that ministry, and that's her baby. And if you were to eliminate it, Sister Susie and all of her family and friends would be upset. But understand that as we create this environment of trying new ideas, you're going to find Sister Susie will get involved in new ministries. And she'll see that those things are working, and it'll be a blessing. It'll be easier to do away with those long-term ministries that have expired. And number 18, it's easy to find leaders when they know how long the commitment will last. And if it works, they're more likely to continue in ministry. If not, you have someone who can train the next leader. They've already walked in those shoes. And I try to set up our leadership to train someone to take their place. That's a good place to find leadership in, is when they're grooming that next individual to do the job that's set before us. Number 19 is some people are starters. They're not maintainers. They're not one for long-term ministries. This gives them a role that they can fill. They're good at starting ministries. And number 20 is more new things can happen. There's nothing like new ideas to attract new people. Number 21 is it sparks an environment of creativity and innovation within your local church. There's really not an age limit on this. I've had teenagers that had great ideas for ministry and implement those. And number 22 is it reduces that ownership of, hey, this is my territory, get away. You're going to find that more people are welcome for community ministry when you're starting new ministries. And number 23 is the church becomes more adaptable to shift in the culture that's happening around us, the community and the congregation. You'll find that the church, they'll be more adaptable to those things. And number 24 is some ideas can be rotated in and out on a seasonal basis. There's things that we can do in the summertime that we can't do in the winter. And those are ministries as well. So you rotate those in and out. And number 25, it matches how people make commitments now. What do I mean by that is people make commitments today in chunks rather than over an indefinite period of time. So they'll do little chunks here and there. And number 26 is there's less burden on the leadership to make a perfect decision. This is new. Hey, what is the right decision? I'm not doing it like so-and-so did it. Well, it's never been done. So the decision-making process becomes a little easier. There's less burden on that leader. And number 27, and the last one I'm going to touch on today, is when biblical principles are permanent, but the congregation's ideas are temporary. It reinforces what we really value. And what we value is Jesus Christ. the principles of the Bible that we should be teaching in these ministries. Those never change. They don't fade away. So we find that these ideas, though they may be temporary, God's Word continues. It's just a different ministry that they're working in. So I hope this has helped you today. Each one of us, we want to see ministries succeed. And how great it would be that if those ministries that have reached their expiration date would be revived. And sometimes that can happen because of new ministries that are taking place. A lot of times individuals that are holding ministry roles in your church that have been doing it for a long time, they're really exhausted. And they feel like, what can I do to revive this ministry? Well, these new ministries a lot of times will create an environment of excitement, even in your leadership that have been doing it for many years. And you're going to find that some of those old ministries begin to have life in them once again. And if they don't be afraid to eliminate those. Get those leaders involved, though. Don't eliminate a ministry and leave that person hanging. You'll lose them, or you'll have a complainer on your hands about everything that's going on. But get them involved in the ministry. Give them something new. God bless you. I hope this has inspired you today. And we want to encourage you to give us some feedback on our podcast. A lot of people have asked me, well, what's the feedback going to do for you? Well, the more feedback we get on a podcast, the more like iTunes will bump you up in when people are searching for things. And that will help us reach more people. So I want to encourage you, give us some feedback. Share our podcast with your friends. Your people that you know that are pastors, that this could help. We appreciate it. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.